At the risk of being maybe a little bit boring today, we're really just gonna have a chat about some photos that I took on the weekend. I want to do a little bit more of this on this channel, like really just sit down, talk about the photos that I've taken, talk about some thoughts that I had while I was doing it, almost like a photographic journal. So basically on Saturday morning I wanted to get out and go for a walk specifically just to take photographs. So I've been feeling like a little bit frustrated lately because I haven't been doing anything like creative, and that's taking photos, it's making videos like this, it's also just like pursuing other hobbies that I keep saying that I'm going to start. Like I've wanted to start painting now for basically a year, and I've done a little bit but not much, and I've just been kind of frustrated that I've been thinking about all this and not really doing any of it, which I think is quite common actually amongst people that do any kind of creative hobby, that you spend a lot of time thinking about stuff and then you get kind of wrapped up in that resistance and that fear, and you don't end up doing a lot. So I basically just wanted to get out and kind of give myself a little kick in the butt, kind of force myself into that creativity. And to do that, I went into Cologne city centre, so 10 minutes away from me basically, but deliberately into Cologne city centre and deliberately into the part of the city centre where I work. And the reason that was deliberate is because pretty much I've been a little bit like tired of shooting in Cologne lately. You just get a little bit bored of where you live, or you just get tired of it, or you can't find inspiration. I don't really know, but it's yeah, I've been a little bit sick of it, I guess. So I wanted to pretty much try and confront that head on, because it kind of adds to the frustration a little bit. So I went in there and into the part of town that I guess I've been especially frustrated with, to try and like force myself to like find some photos there and walk around and kind of see the positives of it. That was the plan. So I went in and I started by the river here to try and just have a kind of a focal point to start and come back to. And to set the scene, I just always try and grab a photo of the Ryan when I'm there, because anytime I'm like out taking like a bunch of photographs in Cologne, I'm almost always going to get a photo of the Ryan, just because it's such an integral part of the city, just to kind of set the tone of what it is that I'm trying to shoot, even if it's just for me. And I kept it going, and then around this same area is it's like this little bar that a lot of people gather at in the summer. Nothing special, but it's a little bit of a funky bar, a little bit of a, I don't know, this kind of metal cabin and these umbrellas here I found quite interesting. There's always something interesting to me about social spaces that are empty. Someday I'd really love to do like a series about it or something. And I'm just trying to capture a few shots of that, I guess. Still maybe trying to figure out what I'm trying to say about it, but I thought the colors of the umbrella were quite interesting. The little cigarette box left over from the night before. I was also taking some videos along this walk as well. I wanted to try and maybe grab some B-roll while I was out and about, but it was also like starting to frustrate me a little bit, and that was very much against the whole point of this walk in the first place. So I decided to just like cut it out basically after, I don't know, half an hour into it or something. And I always have this feeling nowadays that I should be trying to capture something for this video and this YouTube, and then also trying to take photos, and it can be like a lot to like do it all at once. And I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, and in a way I don't want that. This is like kind of the opposite of the whole reason that I wanted to get out. But it's also kind of the opposite of maybe what I want from these videos too. I really like the idea of me just being able to sit down, talk about my photos, go through what I'm thinking, and explain them to you, show them off to you basically. It's my new way of showing off my photography. And I don't want to make it too much, and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, like I said, but I also don't really want to put like too much on you, the viewer or the audience. I'd rather just sit down and talk and go through it and maybe just show you the photos. And sometimes I feel under pressure to always have B-roll and always have music and always be cutting and always make the videos interesting. But for me, I'd rather just keep it simple, and I plan to do more of that going forward. I quite like this shot actually of the Aperol Spritz sign. Yeah, I always love these shots of the railways too. Um, I don't know what it is. I know it's like the composition of the lines kind of lends itself to a very natural photo. It's very easy to just get something that looks like nice even when there's nothing really going on. But I always really like these shots. But you also get these kind of wider streets with these like tree like with these pathways in the middle where people park their bikes and have trees, and I always quite like these photographs because you get that mix of, it's like a real city photograph to me, this, you know. It has the trees, the greenery, you can see the city kind of pushing in on the greenery from the outside, and then you have people parking their bikes. It always really feels like European city to me. Two bottles of Kolsch beside a park bench in the morning. I mean, that's just about the most Cologne thing you'll see. Something that I've found interesting in lots of places is like bar typography and like branding and stuff around bars and how they look from place to place. But I find them like really interesting in Germany, and I love the look of like a good German Kneipe from the outside. And I just thought this was like a cool little sign with some Sunner Kolsch, Kolsch being the main beer here in Cologne. Just outside this bar, yeah. I thought that looked cool. I wanted to snap a photograph of it. Something that's like I found really nice lately is to shoot like pretty wide, even like kind of boring scenes like this. I found just a little bit interesting to just shoot really wide and kind of, yeah, just to be I don't even know what it is really, but I just really like how there's a lot going on in this photograph. I love how when you go wider, you get things like trees framing objects. You can see stuff coming in from the side a bit more. You just get a bit more of the feeling of being in a place. And when I got to this little crossing here, I thought that was like a really nice, yeah, like I don't even know why. It's just I think this is a really cool shot. I took a few, I lowered my shutter speed to get in some motion blur here, just to give that feeling of a little bit more energy in the photograph. Photograph here in the basketball court was nice. You can see the sun is quite high in the sky already. But with so much trees around and so much greenery, still was able to like kind of capture it coming through and shining on this little court. Yeah, that looked quite nice, I thought. The other side of having lighting conditions like that, of course, is you do get some shadows. So a very good piece of advice that I heard on, I think, Roman Fox's channel once, was to lean into the lighting. So when you have harsh lighting, you lean into it. You try and use the shadows that you have. You try and use the lighting that you have. If you try and like pull away from the shadows in your photography, you're just probably going to get like really washed out, boring photos. But when you have them and you have harsh lighting, lean into it, try and use it. And I had that in mind when I was, yeah, when I was out shooting here as well. It's funny, when I went out to go and shoot, initially the idea was just to get out and force myself to take photos for an hour or two. But it kind of morphed into not like a whole day of photography, but I ended up kind of bringing my camera with me all day and kind of turning my whole day into a little bit of a story. So a story is a bit generous, but you know, like just bringing my camera with me and kind of I kept shooting throughout the day, and I kind of wanted to, halfway through my walk, I said, okay, let's turn this into maybe just a full day of photography. And I did that, and I took my camera with me, and I took it to my garden. I took some photos of some of my crops that are growing. Crops, is crops the right word? Food, plants. I have some. I went picked like the first tomatoes that we have, and some courgette, and a few other bits. And it was nice. I went. It's funny, like by forcing myself to get out in the morning, I went from this like real severe resistance to actually just having my camera with me all day and like really enjoying it. And that was that was fun. That was kind of exactly what I wanted. I really love these photographs, these style of photographs. Something I've been doing lately is I've been like buying magazines every time I go to the airport, and it's something that I never really did before. Like I was never a big magazine guy, but I've been loving the photography in these magazines, and it's just really exactly the type of photos that I want to shoot. And in a way, I kind of see it like photography like this. It's very like documentary, like story driven, like just really nice real photographs. Very like different to what you see on social media. I mean, I guess you see it on social media too, but just in it's a bit harder to find there maybe. Later that day, I also had one other thing that I wanted to do, and that was to try and find some film in a flea market that I know is on also along the Ryan, but was a little bit later in the day. So I went. I went to the flea market just to have a quick look around. Flea markets are very very popular here in Germany. They're like a real cultural thing, so they're very easy to find. And at these flea markets, there's almost always like one camera stall with like loads of old broken lenses and cameras, secondhand cameras and stuff. And I wanted to like try my first roll of like expired film, or just like to buy an old kind of film so I could mess around with it and have some fun. So I did that, and I continued my theme of the day. I said, look, let's just bring my camera with me. Maybe I can grab a few more photos around the day, some like more documentary kind of style, to just give that feeling of what I was doing in the day, and maybe I could talk about them here. But I actually got like one or two nice photos, like this one with these books by the river. Again, I'm not even sure I know what it is with this photo, but I really like it. It's so like in so many ways this is a bad photo, but I really like it, and I think that just goes to show it's a good lesson. Like, this photo is never going to end up in a magazine or be bought by a brand or anything like that. But to me, it's a really nice photo, and I really like it. And I think that's probably a lesson that we can all learn now, is that photography sometimes is just about you and what you think about it, and your own self-expression. And that self-expression and that freedom is quite important. It is to me, at least. And then finally, I got home and I took some more photos of my veggies. Like I had got this far, right? So I wanted to see out the day. I wanted to say, let's actually do something with these veggies, and I was gonna make dinner with them anyway. So let's snap a few photos. This took me absolutely zero effort. Like I just grabbed my camera and I just pulled it out and I took some photos. This is not food photography. This was not like anything. I did not make this food with the intention of taking photographs. I just took these photographs of the food that I was making because it kind of completed my day. So this is what a chill day of photography looks like for me. Part of it is intentionally going out on a photo walk and taking photos. And another part of it is just taking photos while I'm doing other stuff. And it kind of shows both sides of the photography that I enjoy doing. So yeah, that's my chill Saturday of photography. Thanks as always for watching. This is a much more calm, relax, and different type of video that I plan on doing a lot more of, making it more about the photography and less about the crazy B-roll. Yeah, so thanks for checking it out. If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments. Have a nice day. I'll be back again soon.